Hello and welcome to another macro video. We've got 6 new macros today. So we start off with one that was requested by somebody. They wanted to make a list of all the words in a document that were in italic, and so this macro first uses the CopyText with some features macro in order to create a file of all the text, because that macro goes through and finds the text, the main text, and the text that's in any footnotes or endnotes, and also any text that's in text boxes. So it gets the whole lot of the text. Then it generates a list of all the italic words. So let's have a go. So it's italic. Right, it's down there at the bottom, italic word list. So if we run that, so there's the list, and they are in order as they are in the file. And if we want to play with this list in some way, then I could just remind you of some of the macros that are available for that sort of thing. We have got sort it, which will sort them into alphabetical order. And then, having done that, we can use the duplicates remove macro, which will remove the duplicates. And then there's also the macro there, sort and remove duplicates, which does them all at one go, both sorting and removing the duplicates. Okay, so that's that one. So let's get rid of that and see what the next one is. Add a comma. Okay, the idea here is you may well use, as I do, comma add, which adds a comma after the current word. The idea of this is that it comma add previous, it adds a comma to the word before the word where the cursor is. So it would add, oops. So if it's in the word doing and I run the macro, it adds a comma before it. You may say, well, but isn't that a bit pointless? Couldn't you just put the cursor where you want it? The sort of application is where you're repeatedly doing something where you want to add a comma to the word before. So the example I've suggested here is if we're looking for the word and we're going to possibly put, let's go, let's try the next one. So there, do we want a comma in front of that? No. Go to the next one. Let's use these as an example. Look, so go to the next one. Do I want to add a comma there? Yes. So it's just one click to run that macro, and it goes backwards rather than having to click in the word chips and then do it. So go to the next one. No, we don't want a comma there. No, we don't want one there, and so on. So you can say, yes, no, we don't want here. Yes, we want one there. So you can add the comma there. Okay, that's fine. So let's go back. What's next? Number 3 is delete all the spelling errors in a file. I can't actually remember why somebody asked me to do this, but I did it anyway. So if I create a file that we can play with and just put that in there, and so if I run the macro, which is called delete all spelling errors, so delete all spelling errors, there it is, and run that. Okay, what's it done? Well, if I undo, you Control Z to undo, you can see there that it's you can see which ones it has deleted, so you can just check that it hasn't done anything untoward. It has actually deleted the incorrectly spelt words in that document, so I can use Control Y to delete them, or I can just say, oh no, and go back and undo them. Okay, that's that one. What's next? Number 4, list all the files in a folder. I can't remember again why this was wanted, but it does that. It lists all the files in the folder, either all the Word files, or you can get it to show all the files in the folder regardless. So it's called File Lister, F-I-L-E, File Lister is there, run, and it reminds you of what you're supposed to do for this. It's asking you to navigate to the chosen folder and then click cancel. So OK, so I navigate, and this is the folder I want. So I can press the cancel button, or equally I can press the escape key, and there it is. It generates the list. So the first line gives the address of the folder, and then there's the list. And this has got some non-Word files in there because the setting of the beginning of the macro show all files equals true, or you can have show all files equals false if you only want the Word files. So if we get rid of that and see what's next, number 5, use find and replace despite track changes being present. Okay, now this is one that you might have come across. If you are looking for the word colour, but you've got some track changes, so this word here was C-O-L-O-U-R, and it was the U was deleted, so the tracking shows there that U has been deleted. So if I go here, if I use my Smart Finder, which I use most of the time, because I can just type in a word C-O-L-O-R and press return and it goes to it, Smart Finder does find C-O-L-O-R there. And also if you use the Word's own navigation pane, which I don't, then that will find it. However, if you decide you want to highlight the word, every occurrence of the word colour, or maybe some of them, then if you use Control H to get the find and replace box and look for C-O-L-O-R and then say I want to replace it with nothing, i.e. replace it with itself, and just add a highlight there. So find next, and it skips past that C-O-L-O-R with the track change in it and goes straight to the first occurrence where it really is C-O-L-O-R. So the idea of this macro is that if you do need to change things that might have, so you got to the end of a project and you realise, I should have changed something or added a highlight to something, and you try to do it but your file's got lots of track changes in it, it might miss some of them because of the track change hiding the word, because of the bit that's been deleted from the word. So I've got two macros, F and R, despite TC's global and selective. So let's use the selective one. Let's start from here and let's run it. So that is F and R, it's there, TC selective, so I say run, then it does correctly find that even though the track change is there. So if I say yes, I want to change that one, no, I don't want that one, and so on. So you can go through selectively and change them, and it will find them all. Or you can go to the F and R global, that's there. If you click cancel, it drops out of the macro. And in fact, the difference between the two macros is simply find F and R edit. So at the beginning of the macro it says do global equals true on the global one, and the macro is exactly the same here actually, do global equals false. So you can use both macros, or you can use just the one macro and just keep changing false to true if you want to change. Okay, that's that one. And number 6, and finally, okay, this is a sort of general macro that's working on lists, and one of the most obvious lists that I work on is the threaded list, and that's where I use it most, and this is where I use an example. But the basic idea of it is that you can add a specific bit of text before an item in the list and a different specific item of text afterwards. So that list there of only 3 characters, only 3 lines, could become, so in other words, I could use the macro to add a dash and a tab before the word and a colon after. So it will do that for every item, and obviously if there's a lot of them, it would be useful. And so if it was head words that you wanted them to be bold and have a semicolon after them or something like that, you could take the list, do that, and it would work through them all. But the most obvious one, as I say, is the threaded list. So for example, if you've got a list of words that you want to highlight, and you only want the whole words to be found, not where it's a word within another word, then the only way you can do that in Threadit is to use wildcards. So you've got the angle brackets before and after to indicate a word, a whole word. The tilde there will set up the wildcard, and the caret ampersand there, which is replace it with the same thing, and then the yellow is make the resulting replace yellow. So we started with that list there, and you add it. You set this up in the macro. At the beginning of the macro, there's the text before is our tilde and angle bracket, and text after angle bracket, vertical bar, caret ampersand, and you can add a bold or italic or a color, and color equals 0 means don't add a color, or you can add a highlight. That's font color, I'm saying, and this is a highlight. So the result of using those variables at the beginning of the macro is that. So suppose, another example, suppose excuse me, sorry, it was a bit of a cough. Suppose we want to use a font color, and we want to color words that are only those words when they're followed by a comma, a colon, or an apostrophe. Then we could use these two before and afters, so that in the square brackets there you've got comma, apostrophe, and colon as the characters to follow the word in question. And so the add color is blue, and the add highlight is no highlight. You can just put 0, it's the same thing. So the result of that is as you see there. Right, that's it. But I might just mention while I'm here that this caret ampersand find and replace currently is not working on Word 2016 because Microsoft have upgraded, and in doing so 2016 both Mac and PC this kind of find and replace with the caret ampersand does not work. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't color, it doesn't highlight or whatever. So actually, and very unfortunately, that means that quite a few of my macros which use this find and replace with the caret ampersand to highlight things and then to work on the highlighted text within the macro, they will not work. And the most important one is proper nounalize, and so that one I've done a workaround for. If you're a 2016 user and you find other macros that don't work, give me a shout, and I'll do a workaround for you. The proper nounalize one is available on my website, so that's there we go, that's the address. So it's in my documents folder, and it's called proper nounalize, and that is 10% slower than the original, but at least it works. And you can switch it back to not using the workaround to get your 10% speed back once Microsoft get that bug fixed. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.